You don't pick the jurors, you pick the ones you don't want. So in a typical jury trial, each side has 6 no's. We call them strikes. So you get to say no to 6 people. If you have any valid reason to say, no, I don't want that person on the jury, you can do that. And the way it works in process is once you get done asking all the jurors the questions you want to ask them, then it starts with the plaintiff side, our side. We strike 1 juror, the other side strikes 1 juror, and you go back and forth until 12 jurors are gone. Fun fact, if you have health insurance and your health insurance pays your bills after a car crash, there's a pretty good chance that you have to pay your health insurance back the money they paid for your medical bills if you recover from the driver who hit you. Here's why. Let's imagine your insurance company pays $20,000 in medical expenses for you after a car crash. And they say, okay, we'll pay your $20,000 in medical bills and we'll give you $10,000 in pain and suffering. You get $30,000, maybe you feel good about that. You then submit those bills to the car insurance for the driver who hit. Well, then your health insurance comes back and goes, why did you get $20,000 for our bills? We paid them, give us the $20,000. So a lawyer can help you make sure that you know whether you have to pay somebody and also either reduce the amount it is or at least make sure it gets taken care of, because you don't want somebody coming to your door 2 years later, knock, 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 I'm from your health insurance, you owe money. I don't think most people choose to have their own law firm, to operate a law firm. You don't hear many people say, I'm gonna start my own law firm because I really want to run a law firm. Usually it's I really want to do the work I'm skilled at. When I opened up the law firm, I had some advantages by having family members who had run businesses, being able to call friends in my industry and them giving me really good advice. But still, you're on your own with 99% of the decisions, and there's no crash course on how to do that. You see a lot of ads from lawyers where clients are like jumping up and down. Yes, Tim settled my case and I got all this money. If you are really hurt or if you have a case like one that we take, you're not jumping up and down when you get a large offer, and you wouldn't trade any dollar figure for that permanent injury. It's almost relief when you get a fair offer and it's a large amount of money. It's validation. Granted, money is the only thing you can get to validate in that scenario. I cannot go to injured people and say, I would like to help you. We are not allowed to solicit, as the law says. I do not have the ability to say, yes, I want your case. If I see a car crash outside this building, I can't run up there and say, here's my business card, call me, I can help. What I can do though is I can say no. We say no based on clients. Not just the cases, but on clients. I think you need to be a match with someone because you're gonna spend conservatively the next 6 to 9 months, maybe the next 2 to 3 years with that lawyer. I need you to be honest with me. I need you to be helpful. I need you to call me back. I can only help people that wanna help themselves. We are careful not to over-prepare witnesses. I've had a situation where it was actually my client on the stand. I knew some things about him he didn't know that I knew. And I knew from his other friends and family members, he was paying his mom's mortgage. So I never told him that. And before he took the witness stand, I said, hey, I'm sorry I have to ask you these questions, but know I care about you and I love you. Real, genuine, authentic emotion because he didn't know I was gonna ask him. In a workers' compensation case, you have to prove 2 things. You were injured on the job. And if you're injured on the job or because of your job, you will get workers' compensation coverage, which will provide you medical treatment as long as you go to one of the approved doctors, and lost wages. The big thing missing is pain and suffering. In a personal injury case, you have to prove not only that you were hurt, but you have to prove that it's because someone else did something wrong. You have to show in a personal injury case that someone else is responsible for your injuries, and that's the really tough part. Our client was hit by an 80-something-year-old woman who should not have been driving. She's driving an S-Series Mercedes. She's driving from Mississippi to her vacation house in the Highlands, North Carolina. They have all the money in the world. We can't talk about that. The defense was in that case, look, you're gonna have a trial and we're gonna have this poor 80-something-year-old lady who's gonna show up in court and you're gonna be the mean people that sued her. Our client had broken his leg straight through. And I'm sure if we would have had a trial, they would have brought her in, very plain clothing. I would have said Mercedes, Mercedes, Mercedes as much as possibly could, because the jury didn't know that the millions of dollars they were awarding isn't from lady. It's from the $50 million of insurance coverage she has because she's worth that much damn money. And she shouldn't have been driving. This lawyer calls me up and says, hey, I have this really good case for you. This has been presented to me as a rear end crash. At some point down the line, when we were able to speak to the client who was in the hospital, I said, why did you get rear-ended? And she says, I was drinking coffee and I dropped my phone and went under the gas pedal. So I didn't want to drive anymore, so I pulled over and I was still in the travel lane. There's no shoulder there. And I was reaching for my phone. We didn't take that case because, did she get rear-ended? Yes. Was it her fault? At least part of it was. You will not learn how to be a lawyer in law school. The best advice I ever got, which was from the law school dean at the law school I went to, your most important thing when you find your first job is to find a Sherpa. And I was was like, what are you talking about, a Sherpa? It doesn't matter what firm you go with. He said, all that matters is that there's one person that will care about you and will train you. The goal of law school is to get a job. And when you get a job, pick your employer based on who you're going to work for. Find yourself a Sherpa. If your case is under $15,000, then in Georgia you can go to small claims court. It's very similar to a TV show you'd see. Both sides would tell their story, judge would listen, judge makes a decision. After you get above that $15,000 threshold, then you have a right to a jury trial. In Georgia, for example, you have to get a unanimous 12-person verdict in all cases. The most important thing that you should have is called underinsured motorist coverage. What that does is protects you from other drivers on the road. So you get hit by someone who has state minimum coverage, $25,000, but you have $100,000 in injuries. You can take out insurance to protect yourself so that your full $100,000 bill is paid and you're taken care of. So you don't have to hope that you get hit by someone who happens to get insurance. You can protect yourself, and it's really cheap. So get as much coverage as you possibly can. So imagine this, you see a huge pileup on a major freeway and 5 people die. That's news, right? So a reporter drives out there and gets to the scene, stands there as 5 bodies are behind them, as a coroner's there, police are there, maybe the grieving families come over here and are crying, and the reporter's standing there like this. There was a big damn crash behind us. Those people are dead, those people are sad, police are over here, have a good night. Right, that's the end. You should never hear anything about it again. The reason I stopped doing TV is because I reported on a trial. And I was like, shit, these lawyers get to actually solve problems and try to get to the right result and figure out what's fair, what's not, and advocate for their clients. And that's why I went to law school. It's the actual honest, no bullshit answer. You cannot bring somebody back. Don't have that power. But the only thing that personal injury lawyers can get people is money. And that's just the sad reality. That's the only thing I can get at the end of the case. So what our goal becomes in those cases is to take the rest of the family and give them enough money where they have an opportunity to do something in their life that they wouldn't ordinarily have the opportunity to do. I have a client who goes to national parks every summer and sends me a picture of every national park he goes to. That was the deal we made. We have former clients who have become lawyers, doctors. We have clients who have decided to go travel the world. I also have a client who loves going to casinos, and I get a picture from every casino that they're at. There's 3 kinds of damages. Special damages, which you can actually write the exact number on a piece of paper. Those are your medical bills, your lost wages, the proper damage on your car. Compensatory damages, which is your pain and suffering and everything that goes along with that. You can't exactly calculate it from your lost wages or from looking at medical bills. And then you have punitive damages. Punitive damages are supposed to punish the other side for doing something intentionally, willfully wrong. And the damages that go along with that aren't to compensate you or put you back in the place you were in before. It's specifically to penalize or punish the defendant. There are contracts we get where I don't know what they mean, and I don't think the lawyer on the other side knows what they mean. That lawyer has been a defense lawyer for 20 years. In 1990, somebody at their firm wrote a draft release, and then in 1992, some people updated it. And throughout the years, it's been updated and changed and added, and there's just this language that defense lawyer thinks has to be in there unless he's gonna get in trouble, but it doesn't mean anything. Some of these releases are 20 pages. If we can't have a 2-page release, we have a problem.